What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. And as promised, like from my last video, I said I was going to teach you guys how to play Pierce. So for those of you who do not know, Pierce is weapons that I use to how do I say this, kind of give you guys a buff or debuff the enemy or buff your guys damages. All right, and there are certain weapons that have Pierce. Realmbreakers are one of them, which is what I'm going to focus on in this video. But you also have the carving and the spirit hunter. All right, so the carving, spirit hunter, realm are all Pierce weapons. I've seen people play Pierce weapons usually when we set up for ZvZ, whether it's black zone, red zone, or even in the yellow zone. I see within the group of friends that I play with, they always like to play realm, but they how do I say this, they don't know how to use the realm to its maximum potential. All right, luckily I specialize in Pierce weapons. I'm not gonna lie, when I first started playing ZvZ, I used to play tank, and that was my favorite role to play. But over time I noticed that DPS was how do I say this, they were kind of lacking. So I decided to, for the past, I'll say 2 years, focus solely on DPS. And over the years, I've picked up a few lessons that I will share with you guys in this video. Alright, there's a lot of mistakes people make when they're playing Pierce, but anyways, we're gonna cut into that. So before we do that, first things first, we need to understand the Realmbreaker's debuff or buff, however you want to call it. Alright, so the Realmbreaker E is a damage, crowd control, and a debuff. Alright, it's also a mobility because you can dash into like different areas, but the main thing we're focusing on is the debuff. Alright, so what the debuff does is it decreases the enemy's max and current health by 15% for 5 seconds. Alright, please guys remember that. So for 5 whole seconds, the enemy's max and current health is decreased by 15%. Now, with that being understood, the biggest mistake that I see people doing when they're playing like any type of Pierce or realm, to be exact, because today I'm focusing on the realm, is they hit their E on 1. Let's say the caller is going to clump these 3 individuals right here in the northwestern side of the, what is this place, of this guild training ground, so to speak. Let's say the caller is looking to clump those 3 guys. All right, so the caller is going to do his countdown. He's going to be saying, I'm looking northwest. All right guys, and I'm going to hit in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Usually, people who play that I play with, whenever they're playing a debuff weapon, for example like the Realmbreaker, they tend to hit on 1. So when the caller is counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, at 1 they hit, which is cool. But you gotta understand, to me, if you're debuff, if you're playing realm, carving, or spirit hunter, and you hit on 1, you hit late. Alright, because a lot of your range DPS, remember, you gotta get close to the clump in order to hit it. But your range DPS can stand from here, like your permafrost and so on, and they can hit before you. So if the caller is counting down from 1, and you hit at 1 as a carving, realm, or spirit hunter, then you basically just failed. You applied your debuff, your E, a bit too late, so the enemy does not have decreased max health or current health. Remember when I said remember the numbers? Remember those numbers? It was 15% for 5 seconds. So for 5 entire seconds, your realm debuff is active on the clump or the enemy. You remember that, right? So instead of hitting at 1, when the caller does his countdown and he's like 5, 4, 3, when he says 2, that's when you can E. All right, so he's doing his countdown, and when he gets to 2, you can E. The reason why I say E at 2 if you're playing any type of pierce damage is, remember those numbers, right? 5 seconds. So you hit the clump at 2, but for 5 seconds, your debuff is currently applied onto the enemy clump or whoever you are attacking. All right, so for 5 entire seconds, you have your other DPS that should be hitting at 1, applying their damage. So you hit at 2, apply your debuff, and all the other ranged DPS or the the permafrost, the Rift Glaives, all of those other DPS, even the longbow for example, they have 5 entire seconds to hit that clump, because your debuff actually is still active on the clump. Okay, so that's why I always recommend that if you're playing any type of pierce DPS, do not hit at 1 because that's too late in my opinion. Hit at 2. For example, I'm going to show you a clip where the caller's doing his countdown, and instead of me hitting at 1, I always hit at 2. So the next few clips that you see is me hitting when the caller reaches 2 seconds instead of 1, just to show you the debuff and everything is applied before your other DPS can get to the clump. Alright?
North west, keep going north west, boys. On that little trick, we're gonna hit them. Keep coming west, keep coming west. But we're gonna hit straight north, on the crown, straight north, 5, 4, straight north, 3, 2, now, east now. Nice, and demon. Get ready, boys, get ready. It's gonna be straight west now in 5, 4, straight west, 3, 2, 1, straight west now. Nice, boys, nice, and straight away east, boys, straight away east.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed those little examples that I showed you. Alright, so as you're playing the Realmbreaker Pierce, I highly recommend that you hit at 2 instead of 1, because your debuff, it remains active for 5 entire seconds. Okay, those are just some small clips that I just wanted to show you guys of me hitting at 2 instead of 1. If you're ranged DPS like Perma, Rift Glaives, whatever, you guys should be hitting at 1. But if you're playing Pierce, hit at 2. Alright, now another topic that I want to talk about is a lot of people, they always say that they get stopped and they can't hit the clump. Okay, and that happens. Alright, I'm gonna admit it for myself. It's happened to me. As you can see here, our caller was gonna count down to engage, but I completely missed because I got stunned by a Grail Seeker.
East, 5, 4, 3, 2, deep east, boys, nice.
There are ways you can counter that. One of the main ways is taking Graveguard boots or boots of valor. If you're a newer player to the game, I highly recommend that you take Graveguard boots and Night Helmet. If you've played this game for a while and you know what you're doing, then I suggest you take Stalker shoes or whatever boots your caller wants you to take. But the reason why I'm bringing this topic up is a lot of the reasons why people get stopped is inexperience. Alright, so pierce DPS or pierce damage, to me those are considered vital roles within a Zerg. Okay, without pierce, the damage might not be enough to wipe a clump. Alright, you can have Rift Glaives or Permafrost longbows, but without any type of pierce, it's gonna take a while for you to kill that clump. Alright, these are positions that I call vital roles within a Zerg. The pierce is vital compared to all the other DPS, similar to, let's say, the heavy mace is vital compared to like the Grail Seeker and so on, and the Hollow Fall is more vital than, say, the nature heals like the Blight and so on, etc, and the Root Bound is more vital than the Oath Keepers. So there are roles and positions within a Zerg, and they are called vital roles. People that should be playing vital roles are not newer players, in my opinion. So the vital roles should be given to veterans or experienced players, and the newer players should practice in the yellow zone on how to play the vital roles effectively or properly. Alright, the reason why I say that is if you're playing ZvZ and you get stopped, let's say 70% of the time. So 70% of the time as you're playing ZvZ, you get stopped by the enemy tanks. It falls down to, I'd say, inexperience. So if you were an experienced player, you know how to position yourself in different areas where you're safe, alright, and people can't stop you. So for example, me, if I get stopped by a Grail Seeker or let's say a enemy GA, I take note of the individual's name. Next time our caller is looking to engage, I try find the enemy Grail Seeker or the enemy GA and avoid them. Now, inexperienced players that do not have experience, they can't take a mental note of enemy players, their names and positioning and so on. So they can get caught again and again and again and again. Similar to if you keep dying every single bandit. Every single bandit I attend, I die roughly once out of every 10. But we have people in our guild that dies between 6 to 8 times out of every 10 bandits. And that falls down to, like I say, inexperience. They keep positioning themselves into bad positions and they get themselves caught and killed. Kind of explaining positioning to newer players is difficult because a lot of them are hard-headed, so to speak. And when you try to tell them, oh, you keep dying because you keep positioning in bad positions and so on, they tend to argue back, which is why I don't bother trying to tell people how to position themselves. What I tend to do now is make videos explaining it. Alright, so yeah, if you keep getting stopped by the enemy tanks, it's bad positioning. It comes with experience, okay? So the more you play, the more experience you get. But yeah, with that being said, that's one of the topics that I wanted to also cover is positioning. Finally, the last topic is the build, and on screen right now, as you can see, is my current build that I tend to use most of the time when it comes to bandits, and that is the Night Helm, Warrior Jacket, Stalker Shoes, Realm, Lymbhurst Cape, Gigapots. You can take Resistance Pots if you want, and Beef Stew. Now, the Lymbhurst Cape. Why do I take the Lymbhurst Cape? Because you're going to be spamming a lot of your Qs, alright, when you're playing Realmbreaker. So you're gonna, if you catch an enemy out of position, you can just Q him, and if you do not have a Lymbhurst Cape, you'll run out of mana and you won't be able to hit the clumps. The Night Helmets, I use the Night Helmet defensively. So after I E in towards the enemy and apply my debuff, I try my best as I'm walking back to activate my Night Helmet, so that way the rest of my team can also fall back safely. Alright, the Stalker Shoes, I use the Stalker Shoes to blink into the clump. If I can't reach the clump because it's too far or it's too deep, then I'll blink in twice. If I can't reach the clump, then I'll blink in once, E, and then I'll blink out. Okay, the Royal Jacket is simply for cooldowns. Alright, so a lot of people like the cooldown comp where you can hit multiple times within a shorter amount of a period. That's what the Royal Jacket is for. So after I apply my E and I'm walking back, I activate my Royal Jacket, and it gives not only me but my team members around me cooldowns. So this is the build I tend to use most of the time. You can swap it around. You can take the, like I said, for the less experienced players, you can take Graveguard Boots instead of Stalker Shoes. It's entirely up to you. Like I said, if you keep getting stopped 70% of the time or higher, then that means your positioning is really bad. You shouldn't be playing a position where you get stopped that much. Maybe you should reevaluate and watch VOD reviews so you can figure out why your playstyle was absolute dog shit. Anyways, this is the Realmbreaker. This is the settings that I tend to use the most. So I have the third ability on my Q. I tend to switch between the Adrenaline Boost and the Battle Rush when it comes to my W, and then E, and then my passive is Deep Cuts. Okay, so basically what you want to do is, I'm just going to show you the combo. Alright, let's say your caller is going to clump here. So what I tend to do is I'll just stick around waiting for the caller. So the caller's doing his countdown. Let's say he reaches 3. So when he reaches the countdown on 3, I blink, and then 2, I E. Alright, and once I do that, on my way back, I activate my Night Helm. And let's say something bad happens. Let's say I can't get back in time. Because I have my dash ability on my W, I can just dash out of there if I need to, or I can blink out of there. And then once I'm back here safely, I can activate my Royal Jacket and bring cooldowns to all the other DPS. If you're a tank or healer, get the fuck out of my Royal Jacket. You shouldn't be in here. This is just for DPS. That way when our callers, as you can see, my abilities are up again. So my caller is going to look to re-engage, and he's doing his countdown. Let's say 5, 4, 3, 2, and out of there. Night Helmet, sweet, we're safe, boys. Oh, the enemy just clumped us. Activate your Gigapot. Oh, Rizzy, it's entirely up to you. But yeah, that's the combo, guys, and that is how you play Realmbreaker or any type of Pierce. But I'm solely focusing on the Realmbreaker today, and I hope that helped you. If you have a teammate or if you're in a guild and you want to show this to them so they can become more effective and more efficient at playing Pierce, then yeah, link them this video, show them how to play the Realmbreaker properly. Don't worry, I will be doing another video on carving and spirit, and I'll be working my way down through different other weapons and how to play them properly and effectively according to me. Alright, if you guys have other ideas or other options, whatever, let me know. But other than that, yeah, there's nothing else to say. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. It's your boy Musi, and anything I can say is be good out there, and if you can't be good, then be bloody careful. I'm out of here, people.